This video is about Nikon F, the most iconic SLR ever made. Released in 1959, it was the first Nikon's flagship single-digit camera, and it remained in production for a good 14 years until 1973. It is famous for being used by photojournalists to cover the Vietnam War. Some of the most well-known photographers that used it are Don McCullin, David Douglas Duncan, and Larry Burrows. And of course, there is the famous story of Don McCullin's camera deflecting a bullet and saving his life. Nikon F even went to space in an Apollo 15 mission. But the most important thing is that the F mount was born with this camera. And of course, it is a fully modular camera, kind of like a smaller Hasselblad. Not only there is the option of interchangeable lenses, but also interchangeable viewfinders, focusing screen, film magazines, and motor drives are available. Even there is an option for interchangeable film back, and it is interesting to know that Polaroid made one. With all this history, I couldn't resist and finally purchased one from eBay around 2 years ago. Here you see my camera with a simple eye-level prism viewfinder, which is hard to find these days. But I bought the camera with the Photomic FTN viewfinder with a working light meter, and only recently I added the simple prism viewfinder. The top of camera has the shutter speed ranging from B to 1000, and the flash sync speed is only 60. There is also a T mode available. There is also this ring around the shutter dial that you can use it to choose what type of flash you are using. There is also the advanced rewind selector that you can use to rewind your film. The camera doesn't have a hot shoe, but there is an adapter that you can mount on top of the camera. On front of the camera, there is a mirror lockup, a self-timer, and a depth of field preview. There is also a PC sync terminal for flash. The camera body alone weighs 604 grams. With a simple prism viewfinder, it is 700 grams. And with the FTN viewfinder, it is more than 870 grams. The FTN viewfinder makes the camera feel very heavy, but in tricky light situations it's a big help. It communicates with the camera only mechanically, and it is robust enough so you don't need to worry about changing it many times. You need to set the ISO on the dial, and then there is this needle that connects to the rabbit ear attachment on your lens, and only then the camera can read the lens aperture and then use it to determine the exposure. Of course, you need battery for the light meter, and the original mercury battery is not available anymore, but there are adapters that let you use LR44 batteries. Inside the viewfinder, you can see the shutter speed but no aperture, and there is a needle that shows you the exposure. If it is in the middle, it is correct. If it is on the right, it is underexposed. There is also the option of waist level viewfinder. Here's how the camera looks without the viewfinder. You can get a decent image, and it's useful for street photography if you don't want to look at people directly. The back of camera doesn't have a hinge, and the door comes off completely. I think this way it's easier to change the film back if needed. But loading the film is very easy and similar to other 35mm cameras. There is also an ISO selector on the bottom of the camera that doesn't do anything and is just a reminder. During my time with this camera, I've used it for different things such as street photography, travel, and family portraits, and I think I'm gonna keep it for a very long time. Here are some sample photos. So that's it. I hope you liked this video. If yes, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Also, feel free to follow me on Instagram.